In policy, as in medicine, nothing is free from side effects. Side effects can come from ill-conceived policies. This happens in climate policy, mostly because it is a complex domain of knowledge. In complex domains, our knowledge remains formative. Yet they compel us to develop policies before we understand them fully. We call those policy actions response measures. This is such an important issue that the United Nations UNFCCC had set up a group to investigate the impact of response measures. Response measures often have their own negative impacts. Those impacts are of three types: direct, indirect, and deferred. Direct impacts are easy to foresee. An example is policies that subsidize biofuels, especially corn-based ethanol. This policy encourages a water-intensive, inefficient process that yields to a biofuel with negative energy returns. Indirect impacts are harder to foresee, but common sense does help. The link between cause and effect is still within our domain of experience. To go back to corn-based ethanol, the subsidy policy encourages farming activity to shift towards fuel production, and away from food production. Common sense would then suggest that this policy may lead to increased food prices, even shortages. A better policy would be to subsidize the transformation of agricultural waste into fuels, compost, or biochar. Deferred impacts are harder to foresee. They result from the accumulation of effects. Other times, they appear when a new chain of events is triggered. This is what happened with pesticide bans. It all began due to concern about pesticide permanence in the environment. Over time, pesticides like DDT accumulate in food, and reach the upper levels of the food chain, where they end up in our food supply. The solution was obvious: ban DDT, except for antimalarial use. The trouble came from some alternatives to DDT, like the neonicotinoids derived from tobacco. Their effect on pollinators is worse than DDT, neonicotinoids are killing them off. The effect is worse because bees grow addicted to neonicotinoid-laden plants, and are drawn to the poison that kills them. In other words, we rediscovered that tobacco is addictive, and it's bad for you. Who knew? Thank you for your 2 minutes. For a deeper dive on sustainable development, climate change, and how to manage their risks, you can find George's book, Planet A, on Amazon. See you in the next one.